everyone, and welcome back to our channel. And tonight we're in the kitchen again because I'm going to do a recipe for you that I've made many times. It's an old family favorite, so I know that this one's going to turn out too. And it is fried rice with pork. It's pork fried rice. So let me set this camera down and I'll show you what you need. Now, I told you before I like recipes that are easy and simple. This one's not necessarily simple. There are a lot of steps. There's a lot of prep work and a lot of steps to doing it. But it is so worth it. Once you make it and taste it, you'll know it's worth all the time that it took. So let me set my camera down and I'll show you how to do it. Now these are all the ingredients here. Let me read them off to you so you can write them down. 3 eggs, slightly beaten, and I've already got these in a little bowl and beaten them up a little bit. 1/4 teaspoon salt and 1/8 teaspoon black pepper. And I just put my salt and pepper together in the same container right there. 3 tablespoons or 3 teaspoons of vegetable oil, and you're going to want to separate it. You're going to want to put two teaspoons in one and 1 teaspoon in the other, and I'll show you why here when I get to start cooking. They have to be separated. Now the recipe calls for bacon, but I have never made this with bacon. I've always used pork steaks or pork chops, and you're going to need to chop it up real fine in bite-sized pieces. And plus, it'll cook faster when you cut it up small like this. So this is a pork chop that I've just taken the bone out of and just cut everything up with a pair of scissors real little. Then you need 4 cups of rice already cooked. And I've got that right here. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid in my dishwater. 1 package of 10 ounces of frozen peas. And I've already measured out my 10 ounces of peas right here. Frozen peas. It says thawed, but you know what? I've never thawed them. I've always just thrown them in frozen and they come out fine. But you can thaw them if you feel like you need to. 1/3 cup chopped green onion. White part and 1 inch of the green part. About 2 medium size. So I've got my onion all chopped up and put in here. Already measured that out. And then it calls for 1/3 cup of soy sauce. And I've got that in here. I know the cup is bigger. I measured it out in a 1/3 cup and I put it in here because it'll be easier to carry this over to the stove to cook it. So, let me take the camera over to the stove and get it situated, and I'll start putting it together for you. Now it says to take 1 of the teaspoons of oil and put it in the pan and then shake it around till it coats the bottom. So that's why you have to separate it, because the other 2 are going to be used when you go to cook the meat. So you just kind of coat the bottom of the pan. And really, I think it needs more than 1 teaspoon of it, because this is what you're going to be cooking your egg in, and you don't want it to stick. And then you're supposed to season your egg with your salt and pepper. So I went ahead and threw the salt and pepper in there and beat it up. Then you're supposed to cook this on medium heat. So let me turn this down a little bit. Otherwise it'll be too hot right from the start. Put your pan on there, let it get warm. And then you're going to throw your eggs in. I think when you heat it up, it kind of spreads it around a lot easier too. Then after you get your grease heated up, you take your eggs and you want your eggs to spread all across the bottom of this pan in a very thin layer. And it says to cook them on one side and then flip them over and cook them on the other side. But a lot of times when I get through with one side, it's pretty much done. You're supposed to tilt it around like this until it coats the bottom of the pan. And I got my heat turned down very low, so that may be too low. I'm going to turn it up just a tad bit more. You'll see it when it starts cooking, because once it gets cooked, You got to take your spatula and try to flip it over. That's the hard part. It's getting underneath it and flipping it. I usually end up breaking it in two pieces trying to flip it over. Let me get this started cooking. It's not really hot enough to start cooking just yet. It's almost to the point where I can flip it. Get it started anyway. Then you're supposed to go underneath it like this and flip it, just like that. Then you cook on this side. See how it's in there? You go ahead and cook it on the other side without browning it. It's a little bit brown there, but that's not going to be real bad. Then you put it back on there and let it cook again. Now you're going to use this same skillet to cook the rest of your ingredients in. So you won't be, after you take your egg out, you're going to lay it over there and let it cool. I lay it on my cutting board and let it cool, and then I cut it up. And I'll show you that after I get the meat started. Just let it cook a little bit more till it gets done. And I always kind of just do like this, just to make sure that it is cooked all the way. And it is. I can tell it's cooked all the way. Okay, then you take this out. Let me go ahead and get this. I have the bacon. I have my pork chops. I just put them in the skillet just like that. I could turn that back up a little bit for this. Now you want to get your meat cooked all the way through, because when you get ready to put it together, looks like there's something hanging. That's when you're not going to be cooking the meat anymore. You're just going to be heating it up. So you want to make sure you get it all cooked in here like this. When you put it together, it's just going to be putting everything in there and heating it up. I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner up all the way. And then after this gets cooked brown, you're going to remove it and put it on a paper towel to drain. So I'll go ahead and finish cooking it and put it on the paper towel, and then I'll come back and show you. I want to kind of set that over there. Here's the meat after it's cooked. You take the meat and you put it on a paper towel to let it drain. You can kind of pat it like that and get some of that out. Then the next thing you're going to do, you'll need to turn your heat back down again. You're going to put the other tablespoon of your oil in the pan, the other 2 tablespoons, because you use one tablespoon to cook your egg. You're going to use the remaining 2, and you're going to put the remaining 2 tablespoons of oil in here, and you're going to put your rice in there with it. And you're going to toss your rice until it breaks up and the clumps break up and get all the rice coated with the oil. Got a little piece of brown onion in there that was stuck on the spoon, but that won't hurt it. Or not onion, but the egg. It was some of that egg that was stuck in the pan when I was cooking the meat. It got stuck to the spoon and came off in my rice. Okay, so you get all your rice in here and toss it and stir it until it gets coated with the oil. You have to break it up, because I had this in the ice box overnight, because I actually made this rice yesterday. So it's pretty solid. But it doesn't take very long once you get it in this hot grease for it to break up. And if it looks like it's too dry, just put a little bit more oil in there, because I've done that before too. The 2 tablespoons don't look like they're enough. I just get a little bit, add another teaspoon to it. Because you want all this to get coated completely. I think I got a dog wanting to go outside again. Every time I get in here cooking. So I'll continue to cook this, and then I'll come back after I get it done and show you. Okay, I've got the rice coated with the oil, and all the clumps are broke up pretty much. So now let me show you the rest of what you do to the eggs. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so let me move my camera over here, and I'll show you what you do with the eggs. By the time you get your meat cooked and your rice coated, your eggs will be cooled down. And what they want you to do, they want you to roll it up like this. And then cut it in little strips. And the smaller the strips, the better. Okay, now you've got your egg all chopped up into strips, and then after you cut them, I always cut them in strips, and then I always go back and chop them up again, because I like everything to be bite size. I mean, if you want to leave them in long strips like spaghetti, you can do that, but I always like to just chop them up real little. Okay, so let me put my camera back over to the stove, and I'll show you how you finish it up. Okay, you come back over here to where your rice is. You're going to add your meat back into it. Then you're going to add the rest of your ingredients. Your soy sauce. Your peas and your onions, and I've got the peas and the onions mixed in here together. And then your eggs. I gotta go over here and get my eggs. And the rest of it is just stirring everything together so that the soy sauce gets over all the rice and the meat and the peas and the eggs and stuff and blends it all together. So if you've got any rice in there that's white, keep stirring it until all the rice turns brown. Pretty bright, colorful meal. And I usually have this, just this by itself. I make a whole meal out of this because there's meat in it, there's vegetables in it, there's rice in it. It's very pretty and colorful. You just kind of heat that through, making sure that everything is tossed. Now I'm not going to sample this because I had leftover Thanksgiving dinner today. And I'm planning on trying to share some of it with my neighbor too. I'm going to take some over there to him. So that's pretty much how you do it. Like I said, there's a lot of steps to it, a lot of prep work, but it is well worth it. When you taste this, it is so good. If you like fried pork rice, this is going to be a winner. So thank you guys for coming. Let me lift my thing up. Thank you guys so very much for coming to visit with me and to make my fried pork rice. And y'all come back and see me any old time. Bye for this one.